Hey, you guys. Okay, this is part 2. I'm sorry again about the abrupt cutoff. The spiritual aspects of the Watts murder case. When the first video cut off, I was talking about how some people, I feel like, they become a certain way because they open a portal. Okay, now I know some of the things I say may sound flaky to some people, but I'm just going to start talking like I talk, using more and more of the spiritual things that I feel and pick up on, and I have pretty much all of my life, because I feel like it's important to share with people. And if they like it, if they gain something from it, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. They don't have to believe in that kind of thing. A lot of people are discredited for talking about things like that, but that's basically how I've survived all of my life, is not by taking people at face value, for the most part, not by listening to what people say to me, not by just, the clear and obvious things I can see in my face, but by reading energy, by sensing the energy underneath the energy of people and what's really going on, and having to get a vibe for that. And we all have those abilities. But anyway, when the first video cut off, I was talking about how I think some people open a damn energy portal in themselves. I don't know what it is, guys. Either by childhood trauma, where their mind splits and nobody helps them, they don't get any therapy, they don't have any mentors, and something very traumatic happens in the childhood, which is part of what I think happened to Chris Watts. He did, out of his own mouth, say his mother, and that kind of shocked me, because I always assumed that she was a loving, doting mother to him. See, that's how narcissistic people will fool you. Highly narcissistic mothers, highly narcissistic people in general, they will fool you. All of that overboard, lovey, doting, but what it is, I'm going to get a video out and continue talking about Chris Watts and his mother Cindy and the dynamics between them. But what it is they basically can't even see you. They are so obsessed with you being just an extension of them and what they want you to be, that they don't even see the real you, okay? And I think something very traumatic was going on back in Chris Watts' childhood that literally split his mind. So a person can be opened up by stuff like that, childhood trauma and never getting any help, substance abuse, anything that has a person out of their mind and body all the time and open like that. I do believe there are dark energies and forces surrounding us, just waiting for the chance. I believe there's a spiritual war going on around us all the time that definitely wants a host. Evil that definitely wants a host. If that sounds crazy, I'm sorry. And I believe some of us have to fight extra hard. There are some people that it really, really wants, okay? And I do not at any time want to hurt or offend the victim's family or anything like that. That is not where I'm going with any of this. I'm just talking about personal experiences I've had, energies that I pick up on, and things that make sense to me. The video's just for educational purposes, just for awareness, and just putting some things out there. I'm not out to offend anyone or bring any disrespect to her family whatsoever. But I personally feel like Shannan was one of those very bright lights on this earth, okay? Call it an empath, call it a super empath, an awaken. I believe she was one of those people that was on her way to her spiritual awakening, to her transformation. She was one of those people. She was constantly learning and growing, working on herself, and she just had that very bright spirit. She literally brought inspiration and hope to every life she touched, to every person she encountered. And with social media, that spread literally, and unfortunately, after she was killed, now she's touched millions of people. But before her death, Shannan was just that kind of personality. She brought light and inspiration and high frequency and hope to all the lives that she encountered on a daily basis, okay? And so I do feel like there are forces out there that want to destroy that. I know they're out there, okay? And, you know, I don't have anything near quite the energy that Shannan had or the success that she had. But I do have a certain type of energy. I do feel things a certain way. And I do have it inside me to where I want to help others. I'm one of those people that wants to address injustice. Okay? Not a self-righteous, pretentious, condescending, whatever. No. But just a person who loves to create, who loves to experience life in every way that I can after going through a dark childhood, after having to overcome all kinds of darkness and brutality. I'm just a person who wants to experience life on all levels and be a lover of life and be a lover of people. I want to spread inspiration and motivation and high frequency to the lives that I encounter every day. I love to be of use to those people somehow. Give them something, a little spark or a little conversation or some resourcefulness, something. I love to see people's face light up. I love to see light bulbs go off in their head and they go, bingo, that is it. That's it. That's what I need to do. I love that, okay? But there are people on this earth that are out to destroy that. There are people on this earth that have somehow, some way, opened themselves up to very dark energies. And basically what I feel like is sold themselves out long ago, way, way back in their childhood. And they could be living with somebody for years. You know, there are actually people. It was said that Chris Watts was Googling what it feels like to love someone, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quoting it word for word, but it seems like that I read somewhere that he was Googling what it feels like to love someone when he began seeing Nicole Kessinger. Is that not scary after having been married for 8 years? And you know what's freaky is that I've met somebody like that was married for even longer and said something to me to the effect of didn't know if he loved or not. Didn't know if, and I'm just like, wow, what is that? How can somebody be married all those years and they don't know what love feels like? They don't know if they've ever been in love or not. Yes, they are out there. These are the types of people I'm talking about. Now listen, not all of these people are murderers. No. There's a lot of mental illness going on, okay, guys? A lot of mental breaks. And yes, they may be assholes. Yes, they may not know how to get along in relationships. They might be manipulative. They might be jerks and bitches. And they may do things like cheat or betray people, which is bad enough. Lie, manipulate, jerk you around, gaslight you. Okay, those things are bad enough. But that doesn't make them evil murderers, okay? Not everybody is to the level that Chris Watts was. You know, there's different levels to narcissism, all right? And I hate to just put one sticker on, I just can't do that. Like Pete Sapper at The Chosen 144 talks about whole object relations. Nothing is all good or all bad. And it's ignorant to even think that way. I will not sit up and even talk about someone who hurt me to the extent that they were all bad. No, they also had a lot of wonderful qualities. That's what kept me around. You know, and I believe that about everybody, even the people who abused me in the past. You know, and that's weird. It's like growing up with abusive parents, an abusive father, alcoholic father, abusive on every level. Mental, physical, emotional, sexual, all those things. And at times I felt like I hated my father. He was smothering and controlling, and he tore up all the things that I loved. Anything that he saw me getting joy out of, he was jealous and he tore it up. He controlled me. I couldn't have friends. All these things, right? But at the same time, my father was also loving, nurturing. He would lift my ego, tell me how proud he was and how beautiful I was. And so it was kind of a mixed balance there. Imagine how confusing that was for me growing up. And it kind of gives me that that sort of mixed mentality that my thought went right out of my head. I've got to go to work in a second, you guys, but I wanted to get this second video finished for you guys and get it on up. But people who are raised like that, it gives us a feeling of, if we're not careful and we don't get help, we will keep repeating those patterns. We will keep attracting people who abuse us because we were trained and conditioned like that in childhood to be loyal to our abusers, to love the people that abused us. It's a very complicated thing, okay? So we really have to work hard on that stuff. But even with a healthy and healed mind, where I'm not going to let anyone abuse me anymore and I'm not attracting that anymore, I still can see the whole person. Even abusive people have good qualities. They do. Okay? That's what's so confusing. That's why so many people get stuck with them for so long. And there's nothing wrong with you if you still have love in your heart for your abuser. Okay? I mean, even think about it. Even Shannan's family found it in their heart to forgive Chris. Or I don't know about necessarily forgive him, but they did not want him put to death. They did not want to be responsible for that. And they're just such a beautiful family. I mean, just beautiful spirits on those people. And, you know, that Shannan got it honestly. I mean, you can look back and look at the family that she comes from. And so that's what I'm talking about. You know, but to me, Chris Watts is on a level of evil. If he could do something that horrific to his wife and children, there's no doubt about it to me that he opened himself up to evil forces and sold out completely, okay? I mean, I don't think there's any way we as humans can wrap our minds around what he did, how he could do it, what kind of brain break, what would have had to have been wrong. And that's where spirituality starts coming in for me. That's where some whole other level shit starts coming in. But just because I say that does not mean that these people aren't responsible for their actions, because they are. They are the ones that we have a responsibility to protect ourselves. We have a responsibility every day to get up, to know what our issues are, to know what our limitations are, what our traumas are, to work on those things, and to guard our energy from the dark side. That's right. We have a responsibility to do that. So, but I can see those things and feel those things in this case. And I do. I feel like Shannan was one of those people on this earth. I feel like she was a light worker. Call it whatever you want to call it. I feel like she was deeply empathic and still growing and awakening. Okay, that stuff takes time. And yes, while you are still growing and awakening, you're definitely going to make mistakes. Definitely going to have attitudes and moods, and you're going to make mistakes along the way while you're growing in your emotional and spiritual maturity. But I believe with everything in me that she was. And it's shocking to me that there are actually people out there that beat up on and bash and ridicule and make up all these insane stories about her life and about who she was, when it's just as plain as day to see, to me, what happened. Just as plain as day, okay? These narcissists will have your ass fooled. And think about it. If Lucifer himself was to approach you, if the devil himself wanted to come into your presence, do you think he's going to come looking like the devil? Do you think he's going to come approach you with little red horns and a pitchfork and gnarly teeth and show you the evil that he really is? No. So think about it. You people out there that act like, oh, well, we think Shannan was the narcissist. She said this and she did that and she was the more outspoken one. She was pushing him and she was controlling and it was her. You better think again. These people out here assertive, speaking up, telling it like it is, able to sit on camera like she was and literally talk about her own flaws and self-reflect. A narcissist doesn't do that. A high-level narcissist does not do that. They like to hide. They like to wear the mask. They are going to be under the guise of the nice guy or the nice girl. Quiet, well-mannered, not pushy. I can see it. It's like reverse world. Y'all better get wise to it. Y'all better get wise to it. All these flying monkeys out here and people defending these high-level narcissists. It's ignorant. Y'all don't know what's up until one of these days, heaven forbid, God forbid, one of them come into your life and you're not going to know what's up. You better get aware of it. They're wearing these masks. So think about it like that. Be more observant in your everyday world. It's not always the ballsy, outspoken person who has boundaries and preferences and they're just open and transparent with who they are. It's not always that person. In fact, a lot of the time it's not them at all. A lot of times they are the sweethearts. They are the salt of the earth people that are actually able to empathize and have compassion for you and show up for you and have enough room, have enough capacity inside of them to care for you on a deeper level, okay? It's those other people that you better watch for. It's those other people lurking in the shadows and just kind of sitting back all weird, watching what you do and waiting for instruction and not knowing what to do with themselves and I'm so nice and portraying themselves a certain way. Is those people you need to watch out for, okay? But I feel like there's a spiritual war out there. And the older I've gotten, the more I have felt it pursue me. Things that I never dreamed would come into my life or be attracted to me, which I knew that meant I needed to take a look at myself and do some more healing too. But once it gets after you, it shows up everywhere you go. I believe it works through anyone that it can to get to you. Because people like Shannan are very strong. It's really hard to penetrate them emotionally and get them down. She was a fighter. She had that spirit, man. She was one of the ones that chose not to let anything break her. Now, I don't know exactly what went on in both of the childhoods. I know Shannan had a very loving family, and it appeared as though Chris did too. But as we hear more and more, Chris told us that actually Jamie was more mothering to him than Cindy. And that's something I really don't understand. I'm going to have to do more research and read into that. But you know, whatever went on in both of the childhoods, apparently Shannan chose to be a fighter. You know, I heard and read at one time she was bullied at school, that some things happened to her that may have created some insecurity. Narcissists and empaths have a choice. They both have a choice. Both of them are broken in childhood generally, or have some incident back there that tried to throw them off, that tried to split them. And the empaths choose not to be split. They choose to fight, to stay integrated, okay, and carry forward and not repeat the pain on other people or whatever it was. The narcissists, the high-level narcissists don't do that. They let it get in, whatever it is that tries to take them. way back. So by the time you meet them in adulthood, they've been gone a long time. That is what I feel. That is what I feel. And this is from experience. This is from being around people who have carried all of their childhood wounds, everything that's ever happened to them. They have stored it and stored it and stored it and gone through life like that, just abusing substances and checking out of their mind and body, never having been to a therapist even once, never having dealt with those issues until something tragic happens in middle age or something. And you talk about triggering a volcano. If you wait that long in your life to address all those things, man. But yeah, I can definitely sense a lot of these things with Shannan and Chris Watts. And he did. I see it on a much higher spiritual perspective. I feel like somehow he was called into her life. He was drawn to her light. He wore the mask of a loving, caring, emotionally mature man and partner. And that is what she thought she was getting. And let me tell you, when you think that's what you're getting, and the way the covert narcissist love bombs you, where you just about can't defend yourself. You just, wow. They just try to sweep you off your feet with all that. After that happens to you, and you realize in the middle of it, after you have become so emotionally invested in this man or woman, and you realize that you have been taken for a ride, that you have been duped, that you don't know who it is that you are lying next to, and you start to see that more and more and more, it's a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling. And then you get into this anxious state all the time. What can I do? What is this? I don't want to tell people because I don't want to embarrass him. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it'll just go away. Maybe it'll get better. What can I do? I'll work harder. I'll do better at my job. He'll love me. He'll love me. He'll notice me. If I'm a better wife, if I dress better, if I cook better, if I can accomplish all these beautiful things, it'll make him so happy. I know what it feels like to be that woman. And it makes me so mad that people were bashing her for that, calling her selfish, when it wasn't selfish at all. I walked in those shoes before. It's that these slimy ass, covert, narcissistic people that we got involved with get involved with a loving woman like that and literally start taking her apart piece by piece, literally behind closed doors, making her feel like she's not shit. The public